I think it means here we are, version 2.0 of the inaugural live review show. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're reviewing some products that I've recently acquired. I've been adding to my magic, a bag of tricks, if you will, getting some extra material to share on the short form videos. Plus, hey, it's Trick a Day May. I had to add a few things to the repertoire. I've been trying to do, I'm not trying, I've been accomplishing doing new tricks every day, posting on TikTok every day. Some of this stuff's making it to YouTube Shorts, and you'll see it here. But if you want to see all of it, you got to go to TikTok at Conjure. That's where I am. So speak of the devil, I filmed this one yesterday. This is by request. My good buddy Will Flederman asked me to review the Malero Rings. So hey, we're going to start there. Let me make just a small adjustment to my visual field as I pretend like I know what I'm doing and can see the chat. Hey chat, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. It's nice to see some live viewers in the house. Hey y'all. So I thought, here, let me explain a little bit too. I'm dealing with a small injury. If you didn't know, you'll know now. My cat left a huge gash down my hand, and I am just now healing up. Really over the last day or two have I felt like I could do any magic. And I did the ring routine. Took me a couple hours to actually film this and get a usable sequence. I'll talk about these in a minute, but I'm explaining why I'm not performing it. After bashing my hands together for hours yesterday, I'm not going to do that again, but I thought maybe we could just take a look at what I posted and you can see what I do with the Malero Rings. So hopefully this clip here will be me performing and you can hear it. You ideally. May see other magicians do this trick on social media, and here's why. It's such a good trick for the camera. I mean, when viewed straight on, it looks really like those two rings are linking, but dig it, it's actually an audible illusion. Yeah, listen closely as I tap these rings together and move them in a proper fashion, which makes the visual of one ring linking through another. I mean, they're not linked, but it looks good when you look from the front with the tapping. That's when it looks the best. I mean, you could swear that those two rings were linked together. I mean, they're not, but it looks pretty good. So, hey, once you learn that, you can do all kinds of things. Here's one more, and that's the mystery of the silver rings. Is there any questions? Well, so that's the, that's my handling of the Malero Rings. By no means is that the Malero Rings. That is actually my standard 4-ring routine. And then I use the Melero gimmick, the Melero edition, to get that nice freestanding hang by the end of where you're not covering the, what generally is the secret thing, you know. If you're a magician, you know, and if you're not, I'm not going to talk about it. But that's one of the advantages of the Melero Rings. Let me tell you the real advantage for me. My interest in these rings were their size. They're 5 inches in diameter. I've bought and tried other rings. Hands can barely fit through there. So these are a nice 5-inch size that allows my hands to go through as needed. And that alone would make the rings a worthy purchase for me. Add a nice carrying case, which I guess is basically a CD case. So if you have rings and you don't have a CD case, get a CD case to carry them in. But that's a nice plus. And then there's the edition, the Malero edition, which I have just barely started to use. And I think there's limitless potential. You could do yourself a favor and search the Malero Rings. And I've got the here, I'll put this up here. You can see the Malero Rings. That's how you spell it. If you search for that, you can see a demo that it's Ernesto Malero that does. He has a beautiful handling, like rings of smoke. They go through one another, and for those reasons and more, I can really recommend this. You know, when I heard about this when they came out, I thought, well, this is going to be some flimsy sliding weirdo gimmick that's never going to be practical, and I'll never use it, so I won't. But a good friend informed me otherwise, that it was a practical gimmick. I'm here to tell you it is, and you probably want to buy a Malero set before they sell out. I'm hoping they'll release something in bigger rings. I prefer using these. The smaller rings I like because for the camera and for like virtual shows, they're not banging and clinging and bashing up the microphone and killing the viewer's ear. So that's the name of that tune. The Malero Rings, recommended. While I'm talking about things that are recommended, I'm going to talk about close-up pads for a second. Let me show you what I'm working on here. This is a close-up pad. Someone asked for a card trick. I'm not going to do a full card. Maybe No, I'm not going to do the full card trick. This is a review show. I'm not going to sway my ways, but I am going to talk about a moment in one of my card tricks you may have seen me do. This is a trick called Flush Brush, where I talk about magic as art. I shuffle the deck in different ways, and then ultimately end up painting a royal flush onto the pad. That looks something like this. So that's an ace here. There's an ace. That's an ace, and that's an ace. And if you like aces, you probably like poker. And if you like poker, you'll like this. That's the king of spades, the queen, the jack, and the 10 of spades. That's the royal flush in diamonds. That's the royal flush in clubs. That's hearts. And that is the finale to a trick that I call Flush Brush. So in the very near future, Flush Brush will be available on YouTube. I think what I'm going to do is start putting these higher end tutorials in a membership section. So if you're interested in learning like Flush Brush or maybe some of my coin work, I'll talk about that in a second, then keep your eye open for June. YouTube memberships are coming. But you need a close-up pad to do it, and I just started stocking these. Here's what this one is. This is a Murphy's Magic 16 by 23 standard close-up pad. And hey, we stock those at, where do we stock them? Conjure.com. It's my side hustle where I sell beginner's magic. We offer like basic trick decks, cups and balls, sponge balls, things of this nature that a beginner might use. And we've just recently added the close-up pad. So graphic, I can easily recommend this for 20 bucks. It's a big pad, it's a good value, and c'est bon. However, that's not the best pad. The pad that I prefer is this one. And I'll tell you what this is. This, and I marked it yesterday. Got a Sharpie mark on it. Just yesterday that happened. Although I am due a new one. I've about worked this one in enough. This is a Patrick Prosek pad. Magical Surfaces by Patrick. Several layers of nice thick padding or whatever. It's magical. This surface is super grippy. It works wonderfully with the flush brush routine. And he does custom sizes. I had him make this size to fit my over here. It's a laptop stand, a DJ laptop stand, and that's what I use for professional performing. This goes right on it. So yeah, if you've been on the fence about a close-up pad, let me tell you, it'll make a big difference. It's not something that I advocate a lot, but if you're doing, if you want to do like ribbon spreads and turnovers, if you want to do shuffle work on the table, so if you're trying like push through shuffles and things like that, that's important. The other trick it's important for me is my coin sequence. You guys are probably being sick of seeing this, but a nice good surface is integral to doing a trick like this where the coins travel around the pad from place to place. And actually this sequence, Cellini used to do that sequence on a glass table. So technically you don't really need a soft surface for that. But if you start doing some of Dean Dill's work, and I really like Dean Dill's stuff, and this is a Dean Dill sequence. They appear to vanish from place to place. Here, this one will go long distance diagonal from here over to this side. I know, scares me too. I'm going to bank this one. Bear with me. Microphone. I got this. Okay, is it working now? All right. Well, hopefully the sound was gone while the visual magic was happening and it was appealing to your eye holes. And now we're back in action and you can hear the verbiage. So I was just babbling on about how a pad is important for the Dean Dill techniques. So that's a Murphy's pad, and you can get them from your favorite dealer or at conjure.com. Boink. Let's go back to talking about things I don't sell. I got these in. These are the new Virt cards. The cardistry fans will be interested in this. The Virtuoso decks. This is P1. You know, I'm such a noob on these vanity decks. I don't even know what I'm holding here. And let's talk about them, shall we? Let's talk about them. I was quite excited to receive these cards in the mail. And I guess we're going to go top down again. Is that going to boink the audio? Let's find out. I don't think... No, it didn't boink it, right? This camera is not quite as good. Maybe I can bring y'all in a little bit closer. You can see all right. So the deck includes some unique cards. There's a brand card, and then a nice little poem kind of thing where it describes the Virts. The back design, so I don't know what these are doing while they don't match. This kind of does. So that's weird, but cool. I like cool stuff. What my first thing when I opened these cards was how thin they were. I've never had a Virt deck before, and this is a very thin deck. And hey, chat, I'm going to chat with y'all in just a few minutes. Let me get through this reverse review segment, and then we'll do some chatting. You know, you want to talk about street performing and the pitch, and I'll talk to you about that. Let me just talk about a couple more things for the interested viewer post-stream, and then we can chat for, you know, a few minutes after that. So yeah, the thinness for me is a deal breaker, kind of. Like, I'm used to using bicycle cards, or even, you know, use Monarch decks a lot. These cards are comparatively much thicker. I'd say to the tune of 5 or 6 cards thicker than this deck. So, but I can see some advantage in having a thinner deck. These kind of moves, maybe the spreads. By no means am I an expert cardistry guy, but maybe we can give you a look at what some of this looks like in action. I'll talk about the faces in just a moment. The faces for me were kind of another deal breaker. They, a plus is this. It's a 4-colored deck. Woo. Oh, almost made it all the way through. It's a 4-colored deck. That's kind of nice, which is good. I love a 4-colored deck. And in fact, I wish all decks were 4-colored, but they kind of lost me when they decided that they were going to change the pips. So as a magician, I can't say, pick a card. You have the V of diamonds. What is that card? Like, what is that? So this is not something that your average, is it a 5? Okay, a V is a 5. So V is a 5. That makes sense. But if I have you peek at a card and all you do is peek the V, well, that could be an issue. 10s or X's, which is kind of weird, and maybe not weird if you're just manipulating the cards, but if you're trying to use these cards as identities, you know, then your audience is going to have a hard time making an emotional connection to the pasteboard. So hey, if you're a magician, this deck is probably not recommended. If you're a cardistry fan, well, you've probably already bought them because, yeah, they're cool. So I bought 2 decks. I was going to open them both. I was going to open one for this stream, but I think I'm just going to save it and treat it like Bitcoin. I'm just going to sit on it until it increases in value, and we'll do that one day on eBay. But I do think, like, here's an advantage. The 4-color deck can allow for some interesting changes. Like, I could change that ace from red to blue and then change it to yellow. So there's some magic advantages having different colors, and I also like having the primary colors in play, but that's for a personal reason that we might talk about some other day. And hey, that's about all I have to say about the new Virtuoso cards. If some of you have some and have something to input about any of this, I am eyeballing the chat, and like I said, we'll chat more, but one of the reasons I decided to do these kind of reviews on a live stream is to give a viewer a chance to ask a specific question about the prop, or also to have other input about the stuff I'm talking about, so that maybe you're not just getting my old guy tunnel vision view of what magic should be. So, you know, I don't know everything. I just know what works for me. All right, I got two more things to speak of. I'm going to breeze through this one really quickly. This I was happily to acquire. This is the School for Scoundrels 3 shell game, and this is not new to me. This is something that I have had before, but I haven't done it in many moons. For a little better contrast, let me get this Patrick Prosek pad. So I think these run about 50 bucks from Murphy's. You get a nice carrying case. This is swell. Hey, Rana, I see you asking questions about card moves. I'm going to take those questions after I'm done reviewing this stream, but curled fingers generally better. So these are the what do they call these? These are the perfect peas. You get a bunch of these, and this is the School for Scoundrels shell game. So this is some kind of molded rosin or resin. Maybe these are a little bit on the small side, although my hands are very big. But man, I just love the way that these things feel. You get 3 identical shells as opposed to like trying to make these out of real shells where there'll be blemishes on one that allow your audience to tell difference from one to another. And the peas that they come with, you get 5 of the soft peas, and the soft peas are what allow you to sneak a pea from one shell to another. If you're not familiar with the shell game, this is the old street scam where the operator can secretly move the pea, and they usually shift them around, and maybe in a week or two I'll have a usable routine again, but this just works like automatic if you know the moves. And then if you're doing it out in the real world, you want to be sneaky, you reach in one of these. This is their hard pea, so now you go try to do the move with this, and the move doesn't work because it's not soft, it's hard. So you get a couple of those as well. And this alone, this is like a magic baggie. It's like a magic crack baggie. But that alone is probably worth owning the shell set for, those fantastic peas. But the shells are super nice. I'm happy to have them in my possession. And if you're looking for a quality prop to add to your collection, I can highly recommend the School for Scoundrels 3 shell game set. Again, I get most of my things from Murphy's. That's where Conjure.com buys their props to sell online. And that's that. They should be available from your Magic dealer. And while I don't offer this stuff, I can get it. And if you have special requests or needs, drop me an email. I'll be happy to work with you and get you the props you need. I'm just trying to keep it manageable from a one-man show focused on beginner Magic. It allows me to keep an inventory that fits in my closet. Plus, the amount of new Magic that is being produced for the Magic fraternity is simply bonkers. Like a dozen new products, certainly every month, a few every week. There's no way any magician could use all of this, and most of it's crap anyway. Magic. But it is part of the thing. You just have to go through it. It was the same way when I was a kid. It was just different. We had Hank Lee flyers and packet tricks and visits to the magic shop where we bought crap we never used, but I digress. Let's speak about something great. Every once in a while, this, breath of fresh air enters the Magic world. I met Kyle Littleton at Scott Robinson's Tricks convention back in 2015? 5 or 6 years ago. He was working on stuff then, but I didn't really know how much of an intellectual force, a creative force he would be. I'm not surprised. The ideas he had years and years ago were great. He's continued to develop these ideas, I'm sure, I won't guess at Kyle's methods or development. Let me just say, this is Kyle's Shattered Porcelain. If you've been following the Vanishing Ink scene, you've probably seen a couple of Kyle Littleton's products, so you know how cool they are. Well, this book is the coolest. This book is unlike any Magic book, and I really don't want to show too much here because even one picture could give away a trick. All right? This book doesn't really have pages of text. It has illustrations and general directions that guide you to the effects that Kyle is trying to share. So you're left to your own interpretation of what the secret might be, how that secret might work, and how the effect is to be interpreted. which I love so much. It's a slam in the door to the general way people learn, which is to buy a download. They get taught exactly how to do the secret, and then you generally will end up mimicking the creator or the teacher as opposed to developing your own point of view. And there's nothing more important. Hello, listen close. This is the tip of the day, if not your lifetime. There's nothing more important than to develop a unique point of view as a magician. If you can do that, you've succeeded. And Kyle writes, my goal here is for each individual who reads this book to walk away seeing the effects differently than how I see them. So yeah, for me, he accomplished this goal. I read the first trick, Banana. I bypassed kind of the explanation by accident. The explanation's in the illustration there. And then I went back. I was like, where's the explanation? What's the effect? And then I found it. And then I went, oh, I want to do that. In the words of Max Maven, which I recall in his book Focus, he writes that an individual's repertoire should be much too cherished to assume that even one trick can be found from a book. And if you find one trick from a book, well, then you've more than got your money's worth. And I know I've got 2 out of this one already, and I would hope that some of you will too. Here's the bad news. This book's sold out. Here's the good news. They're doing a reprinting. So you're going to want to keep your eyes open for Shattered Porcelain by Kyle Littleton. And I'm guessing that Vanishing Ink might have something to do with that. So that's that. Get it. It's Shattered Porcelain. I mean, get it if you like to work. If you like to be hand-fed secrets and given your magic on a plate, you're probably not going to be happy with that book. If you care about and view magic as an art form, you're going to love it as much as I do. So that concludes our initial review segment from our pilot review show. I hope you found some of that information helpful. If you have some constructive criticism, whether you're with me now watching this, or if you have questions about the stuff, please drop me some lines in the comments. This is the only way that I grow and learn, and maybe you can grow and learn too by asking questions, and we all grow together. Let's make better magic. All right, so with that out of the way, Rana has been chomping at the bit to ask a few questions. The last question is, will you teach the coin assembly in June? Yep, it's on the list. The first, let me tell you the first few things I'm going to have up there. Blush Brush will be available in June. My adoption of the Masters coin assembly, there's a lot going in there. That's going to be up there in June. The Switchblades routine, I'll have the color changing knife sequence. That'll be up in June. Maybe some rope material, probably not. I've had requests today for the ball and vase routine I posted, which I kind of considered a throwaway, but I never know what people want. I got to hear it from you guys because I have clouded magic brain. When you've been doing these things for 40 years, you don't always have the correct perception on what people want to learn. So, Jason Maher in the crowd. And let me go ahead and promote the Magic Guys while I'm here. Jason is a kindred spirit, a fellow busker from Australia who we spend time with on the Magic Guys podcast. Search for it on YouTube. Find us on your favorite podcast platform, The Magic Guys. Yeah, so there, Jason's encouraging me to do the exact same thing I encourage others to do, and that's the share. If you're seeing these things and you like what you see, this is the way. This is like algorithm currency. This is the likes, the shares, the follows. This is what lets YouTube know that we're doing a good job. And so yeah, if you like what you're seeing, share it with a friend. Tell someone to check out the jam and that you dig it. So why is the curled finger better? That's what we're talking. I don't know if I made this clear as we were going on. We're going to segue into a little bit of Q&A, and I'll try and answer a few questions. I think Rana asked, why is the curled forefinger better? Here's why. In life, the hand is never this. Most magicians palm like this, right? I'm palming. Well, that looks like a palm. A hand is never held this way. It just never is. Allow me to reference Micah Marr's dissertation when he studied Michelangelo's works. It in particular studied the hand. So he took a look at a master artist who captured humanity at rest. And at rest, the hand has curled fingers. For me at rest, on a deck, the hand has a curled finger atop the pack. Let me bring it down here a little bit. We'll see. In addition to this, that curled finger can add some deception when palming a card. So now this looks like a palm. There's the corner. I'm just going to bend it back with my forefinger. That looks less like a palm, despite my little flash coming out the back there. So yeah, it's just a little more way to add a bit of naturalness to your palm. As far as the curled fingers go on the pass, in particular, it's the one that's on the bottom that applies a little bit of upward pressure. That's the key to that, and you can just reference the pass tutorial to check that out. So yeah, it pushes up from the bottom to add a little bit more tension. All right, what's next? I was not expecting to go into hardcore card technique discussions today, but here we are talking about it. Also note, what works for me, hey, might not work for you. It's a wonderful thing about Magic. There is no way to do it right. There's ways probably to do it wrong, but there's a million ways to do it right. So hey, you want to carry on with a flat palm, you go get them, guy. Just make sure you affect their gaze. Yeah, I'm getting there, Jason. Look at this. I got lighting happening with the things going back, and I've only had a couple of minor hiccups. Another reason I wanted to do review shows on the live, it seems like whenever I do live Magic on these things, that the bugaboo internet hiccups cause the problem. But look at this. We've got through most of a show here. I'm going to wrap up shortly. I was planning a half hour. We're about at that now. And yeah. Pretty happy with the way things go, and I can thank you for a lot of that, brother. You've been hand in hand with me through most of this journey. I thank you for your constructive criticism and input. Who else has a question? Who else has an inquiry or maybe a direction to point this charade until I click the off button in about 3 or 4 minutes? How am I, Mervin? I'm living the dream. Every day I wake up excited to pursue my art, so fantastic, you know. Today I had a joyful stream on TikTok where at one point 1,500, did you see that, Jason? 1,500 viewers simultaneously. That's probably the biggest audience I've ever had at once. So it's weird that we go to the internet to get an audience of that nature. For the pass, you're talking about the curled index finger under the deck, yeah? So I'll use that either to bring the pack up from below or to apply a little pressure as the pass goes. I don't know that I even advocate that. This is just the way that I learned it from Derek Dingle. You know, here's what I advocate. As far as learning the pass goes, I advocate studying 20 techniques to find the one that works for you. So it's good that you're, you know, asking questions about mine and, you know, taking those microscopic viewpoints. Be sure you do that with all of them so that you can figure out what works for you. Like, look, I got ginormous thumbs, which makes my thumb move a lot on the pass. It's like the bane of my existence. Maybe you don't have giant thumbs, so maybe something else is going to work for you. But geez, that's feeling clunky. I haven't been practicing a lot this week, I must admit. I've been bandaging my hand, and it's been covered with Neosporin for the most part. For the last couple days, I'm getting back to work, so. Oh, question about pitching. Could you please ask that question again? I'll look for it, but I'd love to talk a little bit about street performing. Let me see if I can find it. Maher, I'll get you a set of those shells. Talk to me after the thing, my friend. The diagonal palm shift, you know, I'm going to create some controversy when I say I don't approve of that move. Those that do it will instantly say, blasphemy. If I'm doing a palm from the deck, if I'm palming from the deck into my left hand, I opt for a Tenkai technique that I learned from John Carney's book called Tenkai-esque. The problem that I have with the diagonal palm shift is that it's a move where you take the card and insert it into the deck and then do the move under heat. I just do not like taking the cards and inserting them in the deck. So that's a blocking point for me. Yes, I know the move can be done from a peek or from a finger break, but if I'm going to do it from the peek or the finger break, I'm going to do this technique, the Tinkai-esque technique, which if you want a technique here, can I show this? It's okay. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, here's the Tenkai / John Carney approach. I'm going to kind of expose it. So I've got a break in the deck. I hold it from biddle from above. The left hand turns inward at the wrist, and then my right thumb applies pressure on the corner of that card. So it's from a squared deck. In, thumb applies pressure, and that card is then pivoted into my palm as the first two fingers move away with the deck. So that is my preferred approach to getting a card from the middle of the deck into a left-handed palm. And I don't really have a lot of places that I even would do that, but I'll tell you how I'm not doing it. I'm not going to take a card and shove it in the deck and then do it. That's just, I think it's bad magic. I think it's bad magic to claim a selection in particular. If you have someone pick a card, so if your audience has picked a card, please do not take that card back from them. Let them place the card back into the deck. Control it with a step on a dribble or a jog shuffle break or something like that. But please don't take the card and jam it in and get your own break. It's, and of course you use the diagonal maher. Of course you do. Most hardcore sleight of hand guys that I know do use the diagonal, and I'm probably against the grain. But this is what I mean. Find you. You find you, and I find me, and we'll all be fine. Yodi just found my videos and enjoying the content. Thank you. Welcome to the magic party. So what we're learning is Jason Maher is going to be giving his dissertation on the diagonal palm shift, probably coming to a YouTube video near you. I look forward to seeing that, sir. I'm trying to think of when I would need to immediately palm that card. Maybe if I had a use for it. There's the question. Thank you. Thank you for getting us off hardcore card topics. Pitching is simply the act of doing your show. I'm going to the pitch. I'm going to my stage, you know. Like when I go to the pitch on Saturday, I'll be on the corner of St. Peter and Decatur Street. So if you're in New Orleans, that is my intent this weekend. I'll be out there doing some magician on the pitch. I'll be pitching on the pitch. Although technically, I guess pitching in street terms often refers to selling merchandise. So you might be pitching Svengali decks. You might be pitching CDs. You might be pitching widgets. I don't know. So pitching, there's a couple ways that you could connotate that. He's making a video. Maher's making a video on it now. You'll go get it, man. He probably started it 3 minutes ago when we started talking about it. Yeah, you love to do street magic, but you're scared everyone will regret. Well, you got to get over that, brother. If you have any amount of fear in your, soul on the street, they will eat you alive. If there's anything that's important while busking, it's that you have that confidence. Often the confidence comes from performing, and the only way to get that is by just getting over that initial fear and just plowing through it. Of course, if you've spent enough time on your material, if you've rehearsed it well and you know your performance inside and out, that's going to ease your nerves a lot. If you're going out unsure of your performance, well, now you're going to have extra nerves. So practice a lot and rehearse and just perform all you can, and that'll go away. Jason, you want to talk about crowd building techniques? You know what I want to do is kind of wrap this up. I planned on a loose 30 minutes for this, and this was intended to be basically a review show, not a discussion on sleight of hand and building crowds. And not that I'm opposed to that. It's just I have things to do after this show. So I've got a schedule. I live outside of New Orleans, Louisiana in the United States of America. Yeah, it's right, Chris. It's probably true for any performance artist. If you go, if you enter your stage with confidence and assuredness, your audience will feel that. If it's the opposite, they'll feel that same thing as well. So be confident. It comes from practice and experience. So just do that. It's a good place to end this. A little sound advice. Practice hard, perform a bunch, and then you'll be good. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me for this Loose 30. It's been a joy. I'd be happy to take any requests for things that you've seen me do to talk about, any tricks that you might have seen on the short forms or the TikToks, or if there's a new product you're interested in, you could drop that in the comments. I have access to these things and would be willing occasionally to spend some of my money to educate my audience. So probably do this once or twice a month, just as things roll in that I think you need to know about. And with that information, that brings our initial review show to a close. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. See you on the next one, folks.